Good morning. Welcome to the Premium Public Video Forecast discussion for Friday, January 31st, 2025, the last day of January. Now we're going into February, and this weekend, unfortunately, somebody's going to rip a rodent out of their nice, warm home and demand a forecast. Now, as a meteorologist, I find this to be incredibly rude. When I wake up in the morning, the last thing I want is for someone to grab me by the neck and demand a forecast. That's just mean. So I would request that you leave the little critter alone. Let him sleep. He's gonna hibernate. He'll wake up when spring's actually here. You don't have to ask him for a forecast. I will be more than happy to do that for you. So leave the little guy alone. But we have a lot of interesting developments setting up. First of all, for this morning, we're getting rid of some of our freezing rain that we've been dealing with, especially in the Lehigh Valley, the Poconos, Catskills, northwest New Jersey, which, by the way, northwest New Jersey through northwestern Connecticut is called the Hudson Highlands. That's where we have the higher terrains and some of your more hillier terrain, and of course in the Hudson River Valley. But that's all starting to give way. Then we have a colder turn to the weekend, and then something very unusual may be happening in what is typically something that doesn't happen during a positive QBO year. Well, let's get to the data and take a look at this. So first of all, we'll minimize and look at our observations here. Temperatures have been rising throughout the morning. We are in the lower to mid 40s down towards central and southern New Jersey, pushing that way into Long Island as well with that nice southerly flow coming right off of the Atlantic Ocean. We also have colder air leaving the Lehigh Valley now. Now we're in the mid to upper 30s. The rest of southeastern Pennsylvania is in the upper 30s to lower 40s. The areas hanging on, as expected, is basically northern New Jersey and portions of northeastern Pennsylvania. The Hudson River Valley right around freezing. We get a better idea of our freezing line here on the SPC. You can see that cold air just kind of trying to hang on. Now, why isn't this cold air putting up more of a fight? Well, typically what you want is a high pressure system to the north, let's say around northern New England, Maine, for example. When the high pressure system shifts off the coast, like it did last night, that supports southerly winds for most of the region. And so the low level cold air, although it tries to put up a fight, really doesn't have any support. So it starts to erode. And that's what we're seeing this morning. And that's why we're seeing the freezing rain slowly dissipate. In the meantime, the mid-levels are very warm. This is at 925 millibars. So this is strong warm air transport, the mid-levels. This is why we're not seeing much of any sign of any snow or sleet in this precipitation. It's either rain or freezing rain. And so with the low-level atmosphere warming up above freezing, we're pretty much looking at rain for most of the region until we get to later tonight when cold air starts to work back through the Poconos and Catskills and maybe produces a few periods of very light snow, dust into maybe an inch. Nothing really too significant. But this is why you're not seeing any other type of frozen precipitation, because the mid levels, and this is at 925 millibars, the 850 millibars is even warmer, it's just above freezing already. So your column of warm air is pretty big. Your column of cold air is very, very shallow. So it's starting to give way. We take a look at the radar and surface map from WeatherTap. There is our freezing rain signature showing up here, giving way. And for the rest of the region, we got this wave of moderate to heavy rainfall that's going to be lifting up towards our neck of the woods, especially towards central southern New Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania. And guys, we need the rain in these locations as we are in drought conditions. And what we need is a lot of light to moderate rainfall rates because that allows for the water to get into the water table. Okay, if you have very, very heavy rainfall, let's say we started getting 2 to 3 inch type rainfall events, that actually would be bad because then it would wash away the topsoil. And if you want to grow anything, you need topsoil. So you want to have the type of rainfall like what we're seeing today, half an inch to an inch around the region, to get into the topsoil to start to relieve these drought conditions. So this is certainly some good news, and a lot of this rain will be lifting up towards our area. So a bit of a wet end to the week. But does that mean winter's over? Are we seeing an end? Well, I did discuss, and we discussed this on Wednesday, that I do see an end game to the winter. But we have more interesting weather patterns to get through before we get to that point. We'll talk about that in a second. So here we have the infrared satellite picture, and you can see that our low pressure system is being sheared apart here. Pretty good lifting here, nice divergence and diffluence over the Ohio River Valley. And you see this area right here is supported by what we call isotropic lifting. That is where warm air is moving over colder air, which is what we basically have been describing for the past couple of minutes. So that's why you're seeing this area of lifting very nicely here, focused in the lower and mid levels of the atmosphere. On the water vapor satellite picture, our once powerful upper level low is a shadow of itself, much like the shadow of the rodent that is going to be attacked this weekend. Now, this upper level low will continue to be sheared apart because of the confluent flow up here, but we still have pretty good moisture transport, which is what's going to support our rainfall. When we take a look at the 250 millibar winds, you can see this feature is getting weaker by the hour, and that is because of what we call confluent flow. So basically, the polar jet stream is not aligned with the shortwave, and that's why it's being torn apart. So this is going to continue to march eastward and weaken, and that is what's going to support our rainfall, but not a strong low pressure system. And then we'll get our cold air worked into the back. Now, if you wanted to have a strong high pressure system, now you would think that this confluent flow here would support that, but in reality, the best dynamics to support a high pressure system is here. So off the coast, south to southeasterly winds. And that's why we're warming up. Otherwise, the storm's evolving pretty much as expected. So we take a look at the data for this weekend, and there is our shortwave falling apart. The rest of the weekend is pretty quiet with an upper level ridge, very weak ridge, what we call a shortwave ridge, moving through the region. So it's going to be pretty quiet. We got a nice little shortwave moving through from the Central Great Lakes to New England. It's going to support a few rain snow showers, but this is a very weak system. Notice the PVA here is very much disorganized and lifts north pretty quickly. So what that usually means is that, well, for today, it's going to be pretty warm. Cold air comes in tonight. Very chilly this weekend. That short wave passes to our north, and we get more warm air transport. So this short wave moving through on Monday morning, a few rain snow showers, but not really that big of a deal. As you can see, it's going to be pretty warm at the coastal plain to support anything of accumulation. And that rain snow threat is more for the higher elevations. I could see a little bit of snow mixing with the rain on the coast, but no accumulations expected in this scenario because it's simply too warm. For the rainfall today, certainly some pretty good precipitable water values. This is certainly going to support your at least a half an inch of rain over central and southern New Jersey, possibly pushing a little over an inch in a few spots, a quarter to 3/4 of an inch of rain around the New York City metro. After that, the cold air builds in and it's going to be pretty dry throughout this weekend. So I'm not expecting much of anything aside from, a passing rain snow shower around 10, 11 o'clock on Sunday, which most people are indoors. So really not that big of a deal. And there is our rain event for today. Not really all that significant in terms of any type of winter weather impacts. The ice threat is fading away. And then we get a little bit of a snow shower threat here at the very end. And then the rest of the weekend is pretty quiet. Now, what about the rest of this month? Now, I'm not going to get into details. And if you've come here looking for some hype about winter storms, this is the wrong channel for you. I'm sure there's plenty that are probably showing every GFS solution out to 15 days. And if you want to get hyped about that, so be it, but it's just going to lead to disappointment. So what are we actually seeing here? Well, this is the polar vortex. The polar vortex is kind of the main player this winter. I say this winter because you can't always follow the same rules every winter. That's why forecasting is hard, because it's kind of like they change the rules of the game almost every season. So you kind of have to stay on your toes. But in this case, the polar vortex is king. The tropical forcing is weak. Tropical forcing would be like La Nina or the MJO. So when we take a look at this, we're seeing support from a wide variety of models of severe stretching, which we've been talking about, which is why I've been saying mid to late February it looks pretty impressive. And then it pulls off this split idea. Now, I'm a little skeptical on this. It is true the GFS ensembles, the European and the European ensembles are all showing this signal. So you would say to yourself, that's a pretty strong signal, okay? The only reason why I'm a little questionable on it, I don't trust this just yet, is that this would go completely against the current QBO state. It might signal the fact that the QBO is finally collapsing into an easterly state, but the observations don't support that yet. So if this actually happens, this is going to extend that cold streak into early March. And you're going to be dealing with an impressive polar and Arctic air mass as well. This could also, if this works out, again, we're beyond 10 days here, so take this with a little bit of grain of salt, but this would clearly support a more robust negative NAO signal, and yet things could get pretty interesting around the mid-Atlantic. So let's just take this as winter is not over, more surprises are on the way, but that is not a guarantee that there's going to be snow in your backyard. Okay, let's be very clear about that. But what this would set up at 500 millibars is you would get this large upper level low that is currently sitting around Greenland and getting ready to drop south. As long as it's over Greenland, you're going to get a progressive flow here, which is going to end up with your rain snow events and maybe rain on the coast, snow over the interior. Maybe you pull off just the right interaction, right? But as you get to 10 days out, that upper level low starts to drop south of Greenland and redeveloping towards the Hudson Bay. And if that takes shape, then you can have heights rising in Greenland, and there is your negative NAO and your block. Now, if this was to happen, okay, again, I wouldn't take this verbatim, but certainly this would make sense with a little bit of a La Nina twist to it. Okay, so this would set up a storm track and a pressure and a thermal gradient, which we see here, setting up where your pure Arctic air is ready to drop south. Again, this is the middle of the month. Do not take this verbatim because we're 15 days out. But what this sets up is a very active storm track with an active subtropical jet stream, plenty of cold air to work with, and a lot of mischief along with it. Now, again, as I said, this doesn't guarantee snow in your backyard, but it certainly lines up with the idea that I've been sharing that after this little thaw, that we go back to a cold, below normal temperature weather pattern with an active storm track. And if that active storm track pans out, well, yeah, things could get interesting. So the moral of the story today is that winter is not over by a long shot. We got some interesting periods of weather on the way. Don't dive into the details on your potential storms just yet. You want to get under 120 hours. It's 5 days out. And save yourself some time and some good sleep. And don't worry about every model run for a solution that is 7 days out, 5 days out. Give yourself some time. Step away from the models. You get the overall theme. And then you look at what the data starts showing once you get under 5 days. And you start to understand what are the finer details here, like the orientation of short waves, how they interact, stuff like that. So I'm just trying to give you a little bit more time to sleep because there's no reason for you to be up at 2 a.m. to look at a solution that is 7 to 10 days or 15 days out. That's just silly. Trust me, someone who is in their 40s, trust me, if you can sleep, do it because it's healthy for you. And God knows as you get older, you don't have that time. So let's take a look at our forecast for today. Periods of rain throughout the region as temperatures continue to rise. Look for high temperatures in the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, lower to mid 40s along the coast, and mid to upper 40s in the Delaware River Valley. So kind of a raw, damp day. For tonight into tomorrow morning, the low pressure system exits, cold air tries to work in. Look for some lingering showers along the coast and some snow showers over the interior as temperatures continue to fall, and they will fall significantly, looking at the upper teens to lower 20s over the northern interior, mid to upper 20s in the suburbs, and lower to mid 30s on the immediate coast and in your urban areas. Any precipitation left will be gone before the temperatures plummet. Okay, so this is why we're not looking for any type of significant snowfall or anything of that nature. And you have to remember also, this is a 6 hour period. So by the time your temperatures fall, a lot of this is already gone. By the time we get to Saturday afternoon, dry, clearing skies, but definitely cold out, with high temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s in the Delaware River Valley, and mid 30s along the coast. On Sunday, high pressure passes over the region with scattered cloud cover. We're going to see our winds starting to veer back to the southwest, but it's going to be very cold. Low temperatures will be in the single digits over the interior, mid teens in your suburbs, and upper teens to lower 20s in your urban areas. High temperatures, a little bit warmer with that southwesterly wind, ranging from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. On Monday, well, Sunday night into Monday, that little clipper passes to our north with some rain and snow showers around the region. The bulk of your lifting is going to be focused over New England, where we expect that snowfall. But for the most part, we're just going to see a few passing rain, snow showers, not that big of a deal. Look for low temperatures by Monday morning, ranging from the lower to mid 30s. By Monday afternoon, a few lingering isolated showers. Other than that, a mix of sun and clouds, with high temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, mid to upper 40s along the coast. On Tuesday, high pressure will produce a few scattered clouds. Look for low temperatures to range from the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 40s. On Wednesday, another warm front approaches. We'll have to watch out for some freezing rain and sleet on Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So, initially, we'll have low temperatures on Wednesday ranging from the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid 30s along the coast. As we move through on Thursday night into Thursday morning, should I say Wednesday night into Thursday morning, the warm front will overwhelm the region. The coastal plain will change over to rain. We'll have this icy mess over the interior that we're going to keep an eye on. Low temperatures by the time we get to Thursday morning will range from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid 30s along the coast. So you can see the Wednesday afternoon highs and the Thursday morning lows aren't going to be changing all that much. By Thursday afternoon, warm front winds to fight, periods of showers throughout the region, some of them with heavier downpours. High temperatures will range from the upper 40s to lower 50s over the northern interior, lower to mid 50s in the New York City metro, upper 50s to lower 60s in the Philadelphia metro. On Thursday night to Friday morning, the cold front clears the coast with a few lingering showers, followed by strong cold air transport. That's going to support low temperatures on Friday morning, falling into the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s in the suburbs, upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. High temperatures will rebound into the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior and upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast. Why? Because behind this cold front is more of a Pacific polar air mass rather than a true polar air mass. So this is part of our moderation. So there is our forecast for today with our premium discussion video. The overall themes here: wet today, cold this weekend, active throughout next week, but we're pretty much on the warm side of a lot of these storm tracks as we are in our thaw for this winter. But as you can see, winter is in no way, shape done, and it's going to remain very active. Now, for details on weather information you could trust with technical details, and you can ask me how it's going to impact your region or your business, definitely check out the Premium Consulting membership, only $15 a month. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. It actually helps out quite a bit. And also, there's a really cool discussion today on the website from meteorologist Tom Moore. You might remember him from the Weather Channel. He does a history piece every week on the website, and it's completely free. Go check it out. You'll learn a lot. This week, we're going to be learning about the impacts of another cold blast into the southeast and how that impacted the region. So definitely check that out. It's a really cool discussion. In the meantime, stay safe out there.